Emile Jellinek. I'm a startupper, and I used to work a bunch of years in Bitpolito. Maybe you know our team, so I was involved in Bitcoin education as well. And today I'm giving this speech to give an overview of the business landscape of Bitcoin and maybe give you some tips and inspiration to launch your own business, or how you should, what you should consider before doing it. So we're gonna see, starting with what is worth to build, then some dynamics of the ecosystem, which of course has some different characteristics than the others. Then some thoughts about open source, why it's important, and again also which are the characteristics of working in such an environment. Then what you should consider in terms of value proposition and building versus investing in Bitcoin. So, from the very basics, this is probably something that most of you already know, we should start thinking about what Bitcoin solves as a problem. So why Bitcoin exists, and these are the two main reasons. Money manipulation, so the problem that governments with central banks and all these macroeconomical systems, they can control, inflate, freeze money, and this is of course something that generates many problems around the world. And on the other side, the, let's say, more political problem, so that this control of money is used to make some censorships or other, let's say, bad actions against individuals from the ones that control these financial instruments. So the first thing is to have very clear why Bitcoin exists and resonates with the problems that is hopefully going to solve, and is partially already solving. If you have this interest, passion in working, solving, or even just making your little part in solving this problem, then this is the minimum needed thing before starting thinking about launching a Bitcoin business. So there are three ways that you can work in Bitcoin, and it's based mainly on what are your main skills. So if you're a techie person, let's say a computer scientist or cryptographer or every kind of technical person, probably the best thing to do is to build Bitcoin. And by this, I mean working on the technology itself, maybe design and develop new protocols, new features for existing ones. It could be also services that has as a target maybe technological companies, developers. So for example, as you can see, IaaS, which is infrastructure as a service. So this type of offering product and services, typically services, that again are very needed for the ones that are building on top of the technology, which is the second group, which is more for, I said designer just because I've studied design. No, I meant by designer, of course, whoever has no technical skills. So if you are more on the business side, if you are a designer, for example, but everyone with a bit of maybe a bit of theory, you are a designer inside for sure, way more than you are a developer. So in this on this group, the main thing is to think about the services and products that leverage the existing Bitcoin technologies in order to offer new things, new experiences, new, again, product and services. It can be super wide. And it's very important that you think, or on the opposite, try never to think about something that is working with fiat and then say, okay, let's do the same but with Bitcoin. This is typically not super successful strategy. The thing you want to focus on is thinking how you can leverage the Bitcoin unique characteristics. So we are going to see in more detail later on, actually. Then the last one is about embody Bitcoin. So this is the more generic one. It can be done by everyone. And by this, I just mean that you can integrate Bitcoin in your business, your existing business, or a new business that you are about to launch, and integrate in two ways. So in a more practical one, which is, by the way, just accepting Bitcoin for payments as a payment method. And most important, otherwise it's too easy, let's say, is to be rooted in Bitcoin values and philosophy. So if you follow principles like stay open source, offer services that are privacy oriented, all this stuff, and you do with a clear focus on that, well, somehow we can consider it a Bitcoin-inspired business from my point of view. So, which are these revolutionary features that Bitcoin brings and that you should focus on if you want to create a business on it? Here you can see probably not super complete, but a pretty wide list of elements. And again, it's something that didn't exist before 2008, and for all these reasons and features, there are so many new possible businesses that 20 years ago were completely impossible or even not even imaginable, because as you of course know, Bitcoin is a totally disruptive innovation in the way we move money. And on top of this, and actually also on the bottom, there are so many new elements that we will take their part in this ecosystem. And I want to make this metaphor to represent what the Bitcoin ecosystem is. And the metaphor is just imagine it as a tree. So on one side, we see the trunk, which started, of course, as all the plants, it started quite thin, and that it grows layer by layer. And you can imagine each layer just like a new protocol adding to the existing stack. Of course, going from the center, which is Bitcoin main protocol, so the layer 1, let's say, or layer 0. If you're a computer scientist, you start from 0, of course. And then Lightning, eCash, and you have many more. On the other side, we see the complete picture, the external part. And the cool metaphor is imagine every branch of the tree like a sub-industry, like a sector. So, for example, let's say mining, that is again divided in pools, farms, hardware producers, or every kind of specialized sub-sector of Bitcoin. And each branch has a goal to capture more light possible in order to grow, because there are two ways that you can grow as a plant and as an ecosystem. the first one is from the ground, which in my metaphor it represents the capital market. So all the exists maybe other type of store of values, but as well, of course, other capital invested in other companies, whatever type. And the other source of nurturing is the light, the sunlight, which in this case is represented by the retail market. So both consumers and companies that buy services from the Bitcoin businesses. And of course, the lights hits the biggest and tallest branches. So the goal of each branch is capturing light, and doing this, the biggest one will create shadow on the smaller ones, and this will cause, of course, the death of the smaller ones, and also for other reasons, like maybe the branch is weak for some like genetic reasons, or there are some natural catastrophes that destroy some branch, very strong wind or whatever, which can be again thought like some external market dynamics or some even political facts that influence the industry. And again, the weaker ones are going to die, but just like leaves, fruits, and everything that stays on the ground, as you can see, they're gonna make the land more full of nutriments, and so the cycle continues. And you can imagine, continue the metaphor also with seasons. So you can think about the winter, so let's say the Bitcoin winter, when there is bear market and the plant seems almost dead, and you see on the media, Bitcoin is dead, no one is using anymore, it's down 80%. But the reality is that the plant is still alive, is getting ready for the new warm season coming. You see the first sign of life maybe in spring, when things are getting a bit better, and then everything boom in summer. So you have the maximum. Let's say, healthiness of the plant, that again starts to be a bit more, let's say, strong and good looking in the autumn, when the market goes down again and the cycle continues. So you just change the year with the halving cycle, and it's kind of overlappable. So this is again not probably super complete list, but I think it's quite it gives a quite good idea of all the businesses that of business models that today are in place in the Bitcoin industry. I divided them in these 4 groups. So there is the deep tech side for the techies we were talking about before, and the application side. On the deep tech, you have the Bitcoin group, which is, let's say, the layer 0 group, which of course have mining, that it's needed to validate transaction and extract new coins, data storage, which maybe now it's a bit controversial topic about spam, but still, you can do it, even in the worst case, as Luke Dashir doesn't want, you can go to the big pool and give the strange transaction, the spammy transaction that can then use the blockchain as a notary system that says, okay, this data existed in this moment, and it's easily verifiable by anyone. Also servers, so there are many services like for example, Umbrel, you probably know, or Star9, to have the blockchain, the Bitcoin data, the blockchain data in your house. Then the transaction, so especially if there are some strange transactions, let's say, so for example, Mixer to get more privacy, or oracles to have external data added to the transaction if there are some information needed that are external to the network. Validators for protocols like, for example, ARC. Then validator is a bit generic term, but like someone that is is playing a role in organizing complex transactions. On the Lightning side, there are many infrastructure as a service type of businesses. Node manager, especially because managing a Lightning node is super hard. I don't even try to do it because I'm not a technical person, but even technical people, they tend to struggle with it, and company as well. So we are already seeing companies offering the fact of having a node as a service, so they abstract all the complexity and you can just benefit from the service. Then liquidity, because Lightning, as you know, it works with inbound and outbound liquidity, so there are some cases where more liquidity is needed and someone can offer this as a service with a fee, of course. Then there is another kind of controversial topic, all the DeFi and tokenization world, which, you can do different type of tokens for example, real-world asset, or many types of financial instruments. And again, let's not dive in the discussion what is Bitcoin, is money, or is more. The fact is that people are using it in this way as well. There are protocols like RGB that are thought to make these use cases possible. My point of view, to be honest, is that bringing these kind of use cases in Bitcoin and kind of steal them from all the shitcoin world, it's kind of acceptable, at least from the point of view of having more liquidity and therefore more business opportunity for the whole ecosystem, so more light, to go back to the tree metaphor. Of course, considering the downside of spam and whatever, but again, let's not dive in this controversial topic. Then, on the other side, I've divided the application by if they are consumer-oriented or business-oriented. You have people or companies working to solve the problem of how do I buy Bitcoin or sell Bitcoin. So you have the centralized exchange, decentralized exchange, ATMs, which probably are the one with the higher fees and always with KYC, at least in EU. By the way, let me know if you know some that doesn't have it. And marketplaces, so I think, for example, to Bitrefill, that allows you to spend your Bitcoin, receive, in this case, gift cards that then you can spend in whatever, like in a lot of shops or big brands, even online, of course. I bought my eSIM here for Switzerland in 5 minutes with Bitrefill. It works very well. Then custody, which is divided in software and hardware wallet. Software wallet, they are quite often free and open source solutions. So there are maybe some that are adding new, more advanced features, and then in this case they can ask for a subscription or for any other type of payment for this more advanced service. And hardware wallet, that again, you can do some do-yourself wallet at home, but typically you just order it from a bunch of companies that are building them. Micropayments. This is something that I also personally worked on, and it's basically implementing the super cool let's say benefit of Lightning, so to move sats in a super efficient, economical, fast way. And you can create many new use cases for monetary exchanges in this way. One cool thing to think about is that today we see almost all the software services offered on a subscription base. And this is also, of course, to have more, to predict better what will be the cash flow of the business. But it's also because every transaction, it has a lot of fees, depending on the quantity, on the provider you're using. But if you, for example, if you would pay one film at per time to Netflix, Netflix is gonna probably bankrupt, or at least all the margins, they will go to Stripe, that is processing the transaction. So thanks to micropayments, you can integrate new monetary exchanges in, for example, gaming. There are companies that are focused only on bringing Lightning transaction in gaming, then streaming, and more in general, you can have rewards dynamics, so gamification strategies, which is a very trendy marketing buzzword. So in order to have more incentives to use the service more, to give maybe more feedbacks if you need feedbacks from users, and many other cool new dynamics. Then on B2B side, you have the more like the classic finance services like lending and borrowing, all the magic new trend of Bitcoin treasury, which is another thing that it's quite controversial, and accounting, so basically softwares that allows you to make to trace all the transaction, and if you really have to pay taxes on the Bitcoin you get. Security, so solution for big institution like banks or big companies that they want to keep some Bitcoin, but they don't want the risk of managing the keys, so they can rely on some external parties that can do it maybe in a more safe way, even if, of course, you're adding the third trusted party risk. Then chain analysis. I don't know why I put it in security, to be honest. Should be maybe in other. But for the one that they don't know, it's there are these kind of evil companies that are tracing all the UTXOs on the blockchain in order to understand who is which Bitcoin, in order to make some arrests, or they typically work with governments or agencies like CIA and this kind of stuff. But sadly, they make a lot of money out of it. And then other type of softwares like some kind of analytics. We can think about mempool.space, for example, or tools for developers, which is in general, not only on Bitcoin, a very cool trend. There is also a new way of saying B2D, so business to developer, because of course the more the world gets digitalized, the more developers and in general digital product builders will be out there, and helping them ship better and faster. It's another very important word. Why focus only on Bitcoin and avoid other projects, other scam chains, as I like to define them? Well, because the other blockchains, they don't provide the same features, the same benefits that Bitcoin has. I think the most important thing is understanding that the blockchain and in general Bitcoin, it's all about removing trust from, in general, in particular from humans. So you don't want any type of technology, protocol, whatever, that is somehow managed by some humans, so companies or whatever type of institution. Because if you do it, you're basically going back to the previous situation. So in 99% of the case, centralized server, your own Google Drive or your own Google or like Microsoft Excel, whatever way to store some data, it will probably work just better because it's easier. You remove all the complexity that this kind of technology brings in. And you can make the same, I don't know, supply chain tracing business in the same way, because if we have to trust you that you run the business in a certain way, you collect data in a certain way, it's the same thing, trusting your blockchain or trusting your server, basically. Yeah, so I'm not gonna dive into all of them. So if you want to, going back to the three example, if we want to expand to the crypto ecosystem, which I think it's a stupid way to think about this word, because crypto is super different between, there is a huge difference between crypto, let's say, the other cryptocurrencies, or shitcoin as we should define them, and Bitcoin itself. So say that if we still want to make everything in this bubble, in this bubble, in the same environment, and going back to our tree, you can imagine this branch, this strange, somehow magical branch giving shiny fruits with strange leaves. As all the other scam chain and shitcoin projects. That, as you can see, now is starting having less and less light thanks to new protocols like Taproot Asset, Spark, RGB, that are basically removing the use case of this other project, if there were any before, actually. Okay, why open source? Open source is one of the most important principles in Bitcoin because it gives transparency, security, and you can see here all the all the reason why open source is better compared to closed source softwares. If you want to work in this space, it's highly recommendable to follow this principle, even if it's not, you don't have to see it as black and white. You can maybe open source some part of the code, other they will remain secret at least for a while. There is a different type of approaches. Also, for example, in terms of licenses that you apply to your work. It's very common to think about open source and saying there are no way to monetize if I let the software free for everyone. But we're gonna see better why it's definitely doable. And this is something that is super beneficial to all the players and all the stakeholders of the network. So developers can focus on their work, what they are better at, and focusing on this even without caring about distribution and sales can still unlock a lot of economical possibilities and opportunities that came from getting this reputation and making proof of work in the space. Then distributors, again, it's a specialization dynamic, so they can focus on what they are better at, so distribution, create a cool brand and strong and long-lasting brand, and even if the software is usable by anyone, by other companies, by users that can just avoid the distributor and run the software on their own PC, they can offer more services, more integration. They can implement the software for the customer. They can offer better user experience in terms of interfaces of the software, support to the customer, and many other services and features that you can build around the open source core. And users, of course, for users, having an open source tool is typically more economical. At least you have ways to use it freely. But it gives you more control over the software. It gives you the possibility of keep running the software even if the company or the developer building it disappear for whatever reason, or maybe does something that you are against with. So it makes you way more resilient, and I think it's something that, again, considering that the world is going more and more digital, and the digital workforce in the companies is getting bigger and bigger, rely on a third party in many cases is super dangerous. We just saw a few days ago what happened when AWS crashed and you couldn't use half of the apps on your phone. So if you rely on software to run your business, picking open source ones is way more secure for many reasons. How you could monetize if the software is open source. I made this comparison also with the world of art and design, let's say, more in general, because in software or in general in technologies, so let's say in some type of technology, the patent strategy, it's definitely a thing. But in software in particular, it's probably the field where is less effective. And of course, as a Bitcoiner and libertarian, I'm personally very against all the IP and patent dynamics, and which creates a huge monopoly and this corporativism that we are seeing, for example, in US with a bunch of big tech company doing offering all the digital services. For artists as well, you always say, "Oh, if I don't protect with copyrights, with this other way to exploit the state to enforce your right, because you are the first one that thought that thing, and so therefore you have this right to be the only one that can profit out of it." So there are many ways, and these are the most common and effective ones to monetize your work, even if it's not covered by any legal protection, let's say. So for first one is to go physical. So it can be embed your software into a hardware product, like many hardware producer, like Logitech, for saying one. They follow this strategy, so the customer can have the security and transparency of open source software, but you typically buy their mouse or whatever hardware, even if you could implement the software in another one. And in art, even if you get paid very few, it's not very profitable to use Spotify or YouTube. You get a few cents from advertising, but it's almost nothing. Well, you can go to do live performances in clubs, in bars, and there people is going to pay, and the place is going to give you a share of the profits, because of course live performances, they are better, or at least different from hearing a song or watching a paint through a screen. You can then have complementary products to the things you work, and it can be again hardware elements that are compatible with the software and maybe enhance the experience of using it, or merchandise, every type of gadget that you as an artist can create and sell. Support, so if you create a software, you can then offer consulting services to use it properly, to implement it, to maintain it. So even, especially if it's a complex software, there are a lot of activities that the businesses will be very happy to don't have to understand how to do, and just pay you to do it, because you know how the technology works. Or you can also train them. You can make education, which is another big field. It's very, as you probably have seen, it's very common in Bitcoin. We love to educate people about it. And of course, there's you don't need any license or state approval to teach Bitcoin to other people. And that's basically the same in the art world. Then distribution, so if it's somehow easier for the user to have a cloud-based service, so if the business hosts the service and you can access to it without the complexity of self-hosting on your own machines, then of course you can ask for money for, like, on a pay-per-use way, or on a subscription based to use your service, which is similar to have a more controlled way to sell your product, maybe with limited edition or signing physical copies if you are an artist. And then the last one, patronage, which as you probably understood from my accent, I'm from Italy. And it was a huge thing in the especially Renaissance period, when artists, they were hired basically by super rich and important families or dynasties, and they basically were paid to make their art, make the coolest thing, so the families can show how cool they were. And this is something that actually I think it's beneficial to the whole society, because if you come to Italy, you will see cities are pretty beautiful. And this is because, again, many families invested in this type of business model, we can say. And it was like a proto-marketing strategy to attract customer or opportunities in general for them. And it's very similar to what happened in the software environment with grants. So we have, talking about Bitcoin in particular, we have companies like OpenSats, for example, or Spiral, that they give funds to some developers to work on protocols that are not monetizable themselves, but they are so useful to many other companies that people are okay in paying a little bit and make someone work on it, even if there is no direct monetization out of it. So, talking about values, the third group I showed at the beginning. If you think to, like we as Bitcoiner, we like to joke about this is a fiat thing, this is a Bitcoiner thing. It's very related to the principle and to the values that the thing represent. And if you see these logos, these companies, you will probably understand this joke. There are these kind of companies they represent the fiat culture, the fast fashion, the closed source, all the typical let's say business dynamics that are frequent in the fiat, especially mentality, I would say. On the other side, there are no such big companies as we seen before that are strictly related to Bitcoin values. And I think there is a huge market opportunity if you, I don't know, create a fashion brand that represent Bitcoin values, or a video game, or whatever. And talking about values and value proposition of your software, I think another very, very common mistake is to explain things too much. Better services are way more effective than explanations for people. If you give a cool app, a cool service of whatever type, people will start using it just because it's more convenient, is more cool, and they won't ask any questions of what protocol is behind it, how the cryptography protect the data, or whatever. And it's just like internet. We all use internet. I think maybe here there is someone that knows a bit better how it works, but me, for example, I don't know basically anything about how the internet protocol works, but I use it every day in so many different apps, and I use them just because they are better compared to the previous technologies like paper or I don't know, all the telephone instead of doing a video call. So, to have the classic IQ Bell meme, we shouldn't talk about Bitcoin, and that's what all the people, like for example my friends that are already bored of listen to me saying why this is so cool, it's a revolution, blah blah blah, and they don't want to hear me anymore, and I tend to don't bother them. But they are actually right, because you should again focus on presenting Bitcoin in a cool and convenient way, and not much in trying to educate everyone, which sounds also like very like I don't know, Templar way of thinking, or a communist way of thinking, like having a red book for everyone. One or a couple of last tips I want to give you. Feedbacks. So these two here are the worst thing you can listen to. If you are launching a Bitcoin business and you go out here, or between you in this room, if you say what you are going to build to some Bitcoiners, they will get excited for every stupid idea it comes to your mind, and they will always say, "Oh, it's gonna work for sure. It's gonna be a revolution," and so on. So they are like noise feedbacks. You should get feedbacks from the real user you are targeting, and it's not always the case, but many times your target are non-Bitcoiner, and I think for new companies in the space it should be more and more like this. So in this case, the point is try to make, or at least to communicate it as simply as possible, and even to the random guy in the street, presenting this in a understandable way that at least he can understand if he is the target, so if he has the problem you want to solve, and if he can benefit from the service you are offering. And to finish, I made this matrix about what is best how is best to, let's say, maximize your profit thanks to Bitcoin. So is it better to invest, and here I mean time or capital in a Bitcoin business, or directly in Bitcoin as an asset? And there are 2 points of view for sure. Workers, so every one of you without millions or maybe, I don't know, a few Bitcoin in your wallet, you can choose to work in a company in the space, or even launch your own business, which for sure will make it an exciting journey, because you will feel part of this revolution that is coming, and you will think that you made even a tiny part of the change. But of course, new business in particular, it's very common that they don't succeed. The failure rate for startups is crazy high, so you have to consider that it's highly probable that you are going to fail if you launch a startup. On the other side, if you are very good at everything, let's say making good bread or ice cream, or I don't know, fixing windows, whatever, it could be a cool strategy as well to be the best, or at least serve as better as you can the people that need this service in your neighborhood, or even in the world if your business is global, and then just convert the earnings into Bitcoin and use this amazing way of saving your money. It depends, in this case, how much you love your work. So again, if you love make bread or pizzas or ice cream, keep doing it, do it very good food, and then convert the earnings from fiat to Bitcoin. From an investor point of view, I think startups are is basically the only way to outperform Bitcoin, at least the only legal way, and therefore it's if you want to maximize your profit, your let's say portfolio performances, then you can think about investing in startups, which of course it's very risky as well, because as I just said, the startup fail pretty often. So I think you should do this kind of implement this kind of strategy only if you have a pretty high wealth, let's say, and then it's very relative what high means, but keep in mind that it's a risky strategy, so you don't want to do it with all your savings. And then on the other side, investing in Bitcoin, I think it's great, because on the other side, like being forced, the same bread producer or ice cream producers that we were talking about, I think it's one of the most scummy thing of the fiat system is enforce everyone to be an investor, a Wall Street wannabe shark that have to follow all the market trends, stocks, bonds, understand where to allocate capital, or go to some banks and get scammed again because they keep a lot of fees on the service they provide. So Bitcoin, I think it's great because it's a simple and super effective, probably the best way to save money that humanity has ever created. And so you can follow this easy path, and your portfolio and your wealth will typically be happy. And of course, on the other side, we are seeing Bitcoin growing and growing in terms of price, in terms of market cap. So it's highly probable that it's going to grow more in the future, even if it's already grown a lot. But it's the more capital that comes, the less it's gonna multiply its value. So it's quite improbable we will see another 10,000 times evaluation of the price. It's gonna probably be more logarithmic growth, and therefore, if you want to increase your earnings from your investment, you should consider as well to diversify and invest in businesses as well. So that's it. If you want to make some, then connect and make some questions. I have profiles in these social media platforms, and also now we have, I think, 5 or 10 minutes to a couple of questions if you want. And thanks for your attention.
I have a question. How do you see the impact of taxation, and how does it impact the difficulty to learn the new technology? So how these two factors impact on the business model, new business model? Thank you.
Well, taxation, of course, it impacts a lot. In Italy, it impacts way too much. I think it's talking business-wise, you have to go where taxes are lower, and at least put your company in such a country, and considering trade-offs also on your personal life. If you like, for example, I love Italy, and I'm not super sure to leave the country, but I'm considering, of course, for example, personally, this opportunity, because it's pretty obvious that if everything else it's let's say same, all the other parameters are the same, you have 40% taxes, the other guy has 5% or 0%, you are gonna lose. He's gonna get the market. So it's needed to move your business where it's more convenient. My hope is that even the more socialist country like Italy, they will understand that lowering taxes is actually a good strategy to attract more money. They are still stuck in this way of thinking that the more you tax, the more you earn, which is completely false and like empirically provable that it doesn't work like this. So we could run businesses in the places we like, where we are born, or where we have our families, or whatever. Thank you. Well, I think the time is over, so if you want to make other questions, I will be here or around. So thank you again for your attention.